Alrighty, Steel Nation, welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. I have the headphones on, which means I have a special guest coming in very shortly. But today's show, we're going to be talking about pretty much everything that's happened in the last, 5, 6 days, like that. But I will pray. I said this too about 5 days ago before I bring in my guest, my good mate Zaya. I said this the other day. I was going to play this clip of Omar Khan over and over and over and over. So here it is.
Night one after the next two, is he still aggressive?
Yeah, what do they call them? The con artists? I like that. I saw that, man. That's pretty good. It's a cool nickname.
He is definitely on fire, going crazy, the Khan artist. So I'm going to bring in my special guest, Zaya. G'day, Zaya,
Hey,
mate.
what's
Welcome to
going on, guys?
Steelers Nation Australia. How are you, mate? What's happening?
Doing good. Happy to be here. Happy to be a Steelers fan, man. These past couple of days, versus weeks before when it was like begging for us to get a quarterback, and now we got them both. Like, hey, man, it's a good time. We got random accounts too tweeting about the Steelers, like checkmarked accounts that don't tweet about football. Hey, man, we're the talk of the town.
Definitely. Well, it's making news in Australia, right? So it's
Right.
all over the shop. Before I get into, I want to find out your story and stuff like that. But I do want to ask you one question before I get into your story and we'll talk about all the free agents, all that kind of stuff, all the crazy news, which has been the last like 5 days have been nuts. But what did you actually think that the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024 would go and get Wilson and Fields on the same team?
No, absolutely. I definitely thought it was at best too, and like that's assuming we got anybody. But at best, I thought it was one or the other. I didn't think we'd get them both. But I think the other move of quarterback, like I think that definitely played a factor. If that doesn't happen, I don't think maybe the Fields move happens. But even still, even to double down like that, just crazy, just absolutely crazy. It's a new age, it's a new day.
For me, there was I maybe thought possibly could be one could happen if they were trade for Fields, but there were time like you said in the green room just said then it could have been a second round or a third round, it was too high.
Right.
And then Russell Wilson was an idea floating around, but I made videos all over. I said no to Russell Wilson. I said no to Fields because I thought that the Steelers were just going to get Kenny Pickett and also bring back Mason Rudolph and get a third. And I am in still like disbelief that we get to watch not only the news, but it's kind of fun. Like we get to watch Russell Wilson play football, and yes, we can talk about how bad he was or how good he was, and Fields turnovers and all those kind of things. But we get to watch Wilson and Fields. Like, are you pretty keen for that?
Yeah, and we get to watch Wilson not only revive his career in a sense, because you look at the beginning of his career, this guy was looked at as top 5, top 3, top 1 quarterback in the league. He was the young guy, the young up and coming guy. How we look at Allen and Herbert now, like he was that guy. And then it come to find out, man, maybe he wasn't that guy. And his teammates start coming out talking. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was the defense. He goes to Denver and like that situation doesn't work. That's 2 straight teams that have pretty much paid him to leave. And that's a legacy killer, man. That's a legacy killer. But lucky for him, he's now on a team to where at this point too, we're starving for a playoff game. We need one playoff game out of you, Russell Wilson, and you're a Steeler, bro. Like you are a Steeler, and all of that other stuff is gone, is forgotten about because you did good in Heinz Field or a Creaser, however you want to call it, because you played good in the black and gold, and you're him. So he has a real chance to do that. And Justin Fields, kind of the same situation. Justin Fields is like the worst quarterback ever until it's time for him to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Then it's like, oh, he's definitely worth a second round pick. Like people slandering him. He's having to hear about them drafting Caleb Williams all year. Like both of them got a real chance to reshape their entire careers, and then we got a real chance to turn things around on offense. And hey, man, not to speak too early, but the AFC, besides the Chiefs, like why not? I feel like we got the defense, we got the team.
That's why I kind of was with. I wasn't really against Fields too much. I know he has a lot of turnovers. I know that he's played some good football, some bad football, but the dude's fast. He can run. He can get rush TDs. And he's elusive in the pocket. He even said in his draft interview that he feels like he's like a Russell Wilson. But those two guys working together. So look, I'm not saying it's a 5-star to 5-star like we're going to win the Super Bowl, but it certainly is exciting. I just from the last 2 or 3 weeks when I was thinking about things and and the news coming up, or like they're not even sources, but rumors about going and getting that player, I was like, there's no way. There's no way the Steelers go and get, Russell Wilson, or they go and get Fields. And now we have both, which is just blows my mind. But we are going to talk more about that in because there's so many other moves too, and we're going to go into more depth with the QBs and the Kenny Pickett trade and Deontay stuff too. But I first want to find out, Zaya, how did you become a Pittsburgh Steelers fan?
So pretty much I feel like birthed into it almost. Like I feel like I had no choice. So I owe it pretty much all to my dad, who was like a pretty big Steelers fan, is a pretty big Steelers fan. And one of my first memories is in I want to say 2005 or 2006 AFC Championship game against the Colts, where his favorite player, Jerome Bettis, he fumbled, at the goal line. This is a real story. I've told it, before, and so I guess he doesn't mind. When he fumbled, my dad punched a hole like in the wall.
No way.
And I'm like, I'm like 5 or 6 at the time, man. I'm hella young. And like that happened. And, since then I remember the Hines Ward throw touchdown in the Super Bowl. One of my first like real game memories is the Cardinals versus Steelers Super Bowl. And I've been locked in since I want to say about 2012, 2013, like with just watching games consistently. But I've been a fan overall my whole life. I don't even know a time where I wasn't.
That's awesome. And also you've got a big congrats to you. You're on YouTube as well. So I have linked I'm pretty sure I've linked the description for your YouTube, your YouTube channel. And you have Zaya and the Steelers. Just want to discuss, what you do on YouTube, and a big milestone today. You reached 500 subscribers. And I tell you what, me building this brand, having all the guys on the channel, 20 people here, it is a huge accomplishment getting 500, subscribers and talking Steelers on your channel. But what is your channel, overall about?
So I like to look at it like just a fan's perspective and giving takes on just what the Steelers are doing. I do post-game reactions. I make videos about, maybe news that's happening or signings we make, trades we make, etc. I talk about the draft, but I also try to do it from a fan perspective and not a reporter or NFL insider, NFL, expert perspective. Because I feel like that's a lot of the people on YouTube. They pretend like they actually know, what the Steelers are doing, like what this NFL team is doing.
They wouldn't do that, surely not.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be like I'm telling the people, what they need to see. It's just me and the people all reacting to like what's going on, and I just happen to be the one on camera for it.
Sometimes too, like I know that the guys have journalism degrees. I'm not trying to really put a lot of crap on that, but sometimes the difference is, or can be, is they were a journalist pass and we don't. Like honestly, like your team. I actually know. I thought I knew my team before my car started to absolutely blow everything up until Khan Artist strikes gold. I thought I knew my team with the moves that were going to happen or were happening, and they trade DJ and that kind of stuff. But sometimes, and also reporters in there. Not all journalism the same. I respect DK Sports and what Ramon Foster do. I think one of their shows, one of the best podcasts on the internet, talking us. They give pretty good coverage of what's going on. But other guys out there in the room, I think they might sway things different ways. You're like, oh man. So it's good. Like it's good what you're doing, what I'm doing. I have so much fun talking Steelers. And yeah, man, shout out to you for 500 subs.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Crazy.
It's good to be here.
Let's it's in your first podcast, right?
Yeah, it's my first like with somebody else.
There you go. And it's a bloody dude from Australia. How weird is that?
Go.
Okay, let's get into it then, man. Let's get into some what was your biggest the biggest shock so far in this free agent period, in pretty much the last 7 days, like player or getting rid of Kenny Pickett? What's the biggest shock?
I think the biggest shock, maybe this is a hot take, but I think the biggest shock is getting rid of Kenny, just because of the context of we just took him with a first round pick. And hey, man, I know there's a lot of, Kenny Pickett haters out there, but a team did give up a third for him. Like, I think there's still a chance, I think there's still a chance for him to show better football than he's shown. He really only had the game and a half outside of Canada. And past that, I thought, okay, he'll get his chance post this, whether he's the starter or backup. Now, maybe he's the one who asked for the trade, and that makes it, less shocking since he asked for it. But
True.
to go through with that, because we even could have just said no. We could have been like, yeah, you want to trade, but we're keeping you, bro. Like, we just took you in the first round. So yeah, to just completely cut bait like that was crazy. And two, I think the number 2 would be Fields, like getting him after we got Wilson. And then for a 6th round pick that at best is going to be a 4th, like that's crazy. That's very nice.
The thing is too, I think that the Kenny Pickett thing happened so fast.
Mhm.
Like, I think all off season when we had him, the only quarterback in the room, he was promised or talked to about that the organization was going to give him a chance and he was going to get some competition, but he would be their guy, and they had faith. Art Rooney II talked about it. Mike Tomlin talked about it. Omar Khan talked about it. Arthur Smith went down there and met him in Florida, did all these kind of things, and they did give him, I guess, maybe that sense of comfortability, like, okay, you're going to be our guy, or at least be a chance to be a guy. And then it happened so quick. They went and got Wilson, and then all the reports started coming out saying that Kenny Pickett was, canceling meetings with the receivers, all these kind of things. Kenny Pickett was, saying this, or was very disgruntled. And then all the other reports from last year where he didn't show up into a game with the Seahawks, he didn't want to be there, and those kind of rumors came out from the Mark Banners and those worlds. I'm not saying it's not true or it is true, but the rumors started to go, and then next minute, 2-3 days later, they trade him away.
Right.
Like it just went so fast, and now, like I said to you off air too, eventually in time, like over the next week or two, we'll just forget it ever happened. But I actually do. I did cheer him on to be a steal. I cheered on Rudolph too. The only one I really couldn't get with was Trubisky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was.
Funny enough, and of course I wasn't doing YouTube at the time, or I don't think I have it on video. But at the point of signing Mitch, like I knew there was no chance. I didn't know he would, do as bad as he did in the situations he did, but I just knew that was a very, I guess, lateral move, if not a backwards move. And then, yeah, like to just, have Kenny as the only quarterback, then pretty much a week later, he's just gone. Like, that is crazy. Fun story. I have like a group chat with friends, right? And both of them are Cowboys fans. And for some reason, they're just tapped in with the Steelers because they like, I guess picking on us or whatever. So I'm at work and I'm not checking my phone, and I go to check my phone and I see text and it's like, oh, Isaiah's hyped. The Kenny Pickett era is over. And I was like, nah, man, like it's not over. Like he has a chance next year to compete. But he had been traded, but I didn't know yet that he had been traded. And so I told him, I was like, bro, next year, like he's got it. Like, what do you mean the era is over? Like I get, the touchdowns aren't the greatest, but give him a chance. He'll learn under Russ. And then I go and I look on the Twitter, and it's just over. It's just over. And I did see the reports too of, him allegedly canceling the meetings and stuff, or the practices with receivers. And then, to tie it back to the last year, you mentioned the Seahawks game, was he going to dress? Is he not going to dress? Is he playing? Am I not? It's just very interesting, man. And you guys can see the Pitt helmet. I'm a big Pitt fan. I'm a big Kenny Pickett fan. And I definitely have given him the benefit of the doubt more often than not. But I don't know. I think he had a little bit too much dip on his ship this time. But hey, wish him luck. Maybe in Philly it'll work out somehow. But I think his best chance would have been here still, even as the backup. And I can see too the Steelers, they told him, you're our guy, but you're the only quarterback on the roster, and like come on, like where are you, fam? You got 13 touchdowns to 13 picks. We're crying all year about the offense. Like, not to say, it shouldn't have been gift wrap for him, And I think Russ, he would have been the starter, but
100% he would have been starter.
He should have still been able to been like, all right, like I'll show something. I'll look good in the preseason. I'll look good in camp and stuff like that. And then maybe somebody else will come in, trade for me. Not I'm going to ask for a trade now. Like before the draft, like, dang, it's over. It's just over.
And so I think the story is that Kenny Pickett did ask for the trade, because I'm sort of work this stuff out. And then they went, yep, okay, good.
Yeah. Oh, you want to get traded? Cool.
Done.
Do you think there was a sense in not too much on Kenny Pickett? Once again, I have a jersey. I don't have it on, but I have a jersey. I have the helmet. Like, I'm a big Kenny Pickett guy. But do you think upon, that ask for the trade, you think Tomlin and Khan were like, whew, all right, he wants to get traded. Like, thank God, like we don't have to keep, hey, Kenny Pickett, you're our guy. Like, what if they were out on him too? Because with the speed.
Yeah,
with the speed that happened, like what if they, you know, they wanted to get the Fields and Wilson, they wanted to be aggressive, but they had Kenny Pickett, and the Steelers' way isn't to just get rid of Kenny Pickett without him letting you know, hey, I don't want to be here.
Well, that's why I kind of think it's mutual too, because do you think they were waiting for Kenny Pickett to say, I don't want to be there, then they make the move? I still think it's mutual both ways.
Right.
I think they're all talking in, like, we only get snippets of what we see on the field and interviews, that kind of stuff. So I don't think, like, I think maybe in a lot of fan bases' minds, it was like Kenny Pickett walked into the door and said, I want to be traded right now.
Right.
I don't think it happened like that.
No,
It's all ongoing text conversations. With my boss, I text him every day talking about, so I talk about different things every day. It's not like not one conversation said this, and here's why I'm traded. To me, it was like, Omar Khan, organization, Steelers, Kenny Pickett, probably figuring things out, and maybe in discussions that they said Russell Wilson will be getting QB1 reps. Kenny's like, man, well, I'll speak to my agents. Like, this is business. It's not just Kenny Pickett was pissed off and annoyed and walked in and said, fire. You know, I want to get out of this. Is an absolute joke. I can't stand the organization anymore. No, it's business. But when they come to I think the right result in the end, it all seems to work out because they went and got Wilson. And maybe this was like after, it might have been to me, it might have been after the Wilson thing. I'm not too sure if it was before the Wilson thing with these discussions, but it might have been after the Wilson thing. And maybe it was a bit disgruntled, unhappy, and started to have conversations with the organization. But I think it would have been both parties going, yeah, man, we'll get you out of here. Thanks for your time. Wish you the best. And they go, yeah, it's good for me too. And that is. And I agree with what Darkstorm says. Volunteers, not hostages. But what I get really kind of annoyed with is, and I won't, stay on too long as we get into more quarterback talk with the other two quarterbacks who we have. What I get annoyed is, I think they paint Kenny Pickett as the worst guy ever in Pittsburgh, to walk in. But two, it's a business. They both sorted out. And like I said, in a few weeks' time, kind of move on. And he went to the Eagles, and I don't think he's got a chance to start. But you know what I mean? I think it's going to work out overall. But I know that the fan base is like, torches and pitchforks and get out of here, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely kicked him out on his way out. And I think too, just the last kind of point on it, the quote I saw, now I don't know if it's like real, but it seemed like the most confirmed one, because Kenny Pickett even liked it, was he was promised a chance to compete. Now, I guess you can look at that like, I'm promised a chance to get the quarterback 1 reps. But I also feel like, too, with the way Omar Khan talked to the media and with that quote that was maybe said to him or just kind of about him, it gives you an out. A chance to compete doesn't mean it's your job. A chance to compete means a chance to compete. Now, of course, if we sign Ryan Tannehill, your chance to compete is probably better than Ryan Tannehill's chance to compete. But we live in a world where we just signed Russell Wilson, so the chance to compete, it went drastically down. Darkstorm, not to read the chat, but Mason was promised a chance as well. This is the same team that, Mason Rudolph came in for sure playing better than Mitchell Trubisky at the very least, for sure. And he probably didn't even get a look. He probably didn't even get a chance to play. I don't even think the guy like really practiced like that with the ones or even the twos. And this is
a few years ago with that competition. Because you mean the one where Mitch won the competition, which he never should have.
Yeah, when it was Kenny's rookie year and Mitch and Rudolph, like, of course, because of politics, in the same kind of sense why Wilson would be the starter now. Of course, Mitch was going to be the starter for a few games. But Kenny was number 2. I believe Mason was number 2 for like a week, but then Kenny moved up. And since that point on, Mason never even got a look. And here we are in 2024, those last 2-3 weeks of the season, Mason played some really good football. And so that's the NFL. That's very tough. And kind of like it happened to Mason Rudolph, maybe it happened to Kenny Pickett just now.
It could be as well, like the new Omar Khan, the Khan artist, and he's been here 1 year doing his job, last year with Coach Tomlin being 10-7. And it just could be his new idea, man. The new regime of the Khan artist. Like, he's coming in, he dead set got rid of the center. He got rid of Patrick Peterson. He got rid of the right tackle.
Yeah.
He got rid of the punter. He got rid of Trubisky. He traded DJ, traded KP8, didn't sign back Rudolph. Like, the bloke, that's like 9 starters.
Right. If you're playing bad football for the Steelers, or even if you're playing not necessarily bad, but just the cap hit, the questions about you, if there's question marks, Omar is prone, hey man, we're out of
He-
here. You know,
He's changing up.
he's
I've got
definitely.
JJ52 says here, I hear that Chris Oladukin demanded to be cut.
Oh, that's that what was that like our seventh? He's I think what 2-time Super Bowl champion now.
Two-time, man. He
Hell
puts
yeah.
look. He's probably a good bloke, nice guy for sure. Like dead set. But every year when they win one, the Chiefs win one. And by the way, we're making all our moves, but the Chiefs in our way, just like the Brady Patriots were. But every year they win one, he's now got two, and he puts it on Instagram like he's won one. He's never thrown a ball. He's never thrown a ball. Never in a game. Not in one game. He's a practice squad guy, and he's now got 2 rings because I think they get championship rings too.
Is this like a real story? Like him like demanding to be cut? Like did he have a
Nah.
bad way out? Oh, okay.
Well, on
I was
the
gonna say,
internet, you
dang,
never
that's
know.
crazy.
So you could say, I heard that Chris Oladukin was demanded to be cut, and it'll become a news story from someone to pick it up.
Man, I
Like,
can't
that's
believe Chris Oladukin demanded to be cut. But like
yeah.
unbelievable, man. Like way too much dip on the chip. But it worked
Some,
out.
somebody
worked out.
will definitely pick that up and run with that. That's how it kind of works. Because a lot of the media, they all watch the podcast with Peterson and BMAC, and they say something like, Patrick Peterson wants to come back, but he's been cut too. I don't know. And another good question to you: do you think Peterson comes back to this team for cornerback?
Maybe on like a lower deal. To me, of course, the beginning of the year for Patrick Peterson was not the best time. But I think
Mhm.
as we kind of moved him around, as we kind of, limited his snaps, I think he showed a little bit left in the gas tank. Like for a even smaller contract, he gave us, flexibility at safety, corner. Played a lot of different like positions on corner. So I could see it for like a lower deal. But if at the same time, if he doesn't come back, it's not, surprising.
Yeah, it's like I saw his podcast where he said that like he wanted to have a chance to be a Steeler, and then like I was gonna make a video about it, but I was too busy. And then about 3 days later, I saw him on Good Morning Football on that show, and they're going through the draft hats, like putting the draft hats on, all the teams, and instantaneously it was like, who's going to be the best team in the AFC or the NFL, like a surprise team, and he put on the Browns, and I was like, dude, you just played for the Steelers, like.
Oh, that's nasty.
Only, you know what I mean? Like what last year. But I understand because he's been cut and the guy's got to work. So
Right.
he works in podcasts, he knows how to talk, all that kind of stuff. Very cool on podcasts with him and BMAC. And the next minute he's on Good Morning Football. The first thing he does, he picks up a Browns hat and goes, the Browns are going to be a team to look out for, and speaks for 4 minutes. So I was like, well, I guess you could still be a Steeler. At the same time, I think as fans, we read a bit too much into that kind of stuff too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know. It's crazy. Bass says here, you do get it. Yeah, you do get acknowledged as Super Bowl winner if you're on it. I think you do. Or you don't. I'm pretty sure that they don't get rings. Oh, really? No, I think he's got one.
Oh, so like you just get called a champion, but you don't actually get the ring. Maybe.
That sucks. What's the
So
point?
like it's on your resume.
Yeah.
I would for sure be getting myself a ring first. And even if they didn't acknowledge you or whatever, even if it was a rule, I would still be letting everybody I know.
I
No,
think it might depend on the organization if they give them out to the practice school guys or not too. Do you know what I mean? I think it might depend.
Didn't the Chiefs just get a bunch of Fs on that report card thing? I
Yeah,
feel
they
like
got
they got a
the
bunch.
worst owner out of
Oh
all
yeah,
32.
Chris isn't getting a ring
So
from the Chiefs, unfortunately.
you don't think so?
No,
Maybe that's why.
not with those grades.
Yeah, Robert says here up to the team. That's for sure. All right, man. Let's go back. Let's go back to some more free agent Khan artist. Were you surprised about the DJ trade, getting him out there?
Yeah, sort of, because I feel like for the past maybe 2 or 3 off seasons, we were allegedly going to be trading Deontay, whether it was us who wanted to trade him or he's the one who wanted out. Like I feel like I kind of talked myself into it, but as it kept not happening and as he kept playing for us, whether good or bad, whether dropping or catching, I got kind of accustomed to having Deontay. And then at the time of, seeing that he got traded and what he got traded for, I definitely did feel a little I don't want to say let down because I don't know how Dante Jackson's going to play. But I thought Deontay would have been worth a little bit more than a 6th. I was definitely, I was surprised too at the trade overall.
I think there were rumors going on about it, and I was going to be okay because I heard there was ideas that he didn't really fit the Arthur Smith,
System.
offense. But yeah, but I was a DJ supporter for ages, even when he was dropping the ones and handing balls off to players and making bad plays. But then somehow he'd make like the I don't know. The hard catches look easy, and the
Right.
easy catches look
Just
so
yeah.
difficult.
I used to say like he was so close to being elite. Like he's like
Mm.
literally the cusp of just
Yeah,
right there.
something
But then
something was
those
missing.
errors.
Like,
But like he would make plays and it's like, man, this dude is like the best receiver in the league. And then, it would just be week or two of not blocking, not catching, running backwards, the
oh, that's
stuff.
right. When he stood there, didn't he? He stood there
Yeah,
and
with the
didn't run
Jalen
back.
Warren fumble. And yeah, it was
Yeah,
really and like
and then
it was a
that's
big
right.
story because he was like, "Yeah, I didn't see it," and then the
He
cameras
saw it.
now, he for sure saw it. Like it was
Mhm.
right there, man. Like it was very tough. Uh, but yeah,
And
I
what?
mean, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. What did Warren do the next week? Warren blocked for him, didn't he, or something like that? Didn't
Oh,
Warren say, "I would always block for my teammates"?
yeah, no, no, no. So I think Warren, because we just had quite a season, man, in our receivers. The George Pickens didn't block for Warren against the Colts
Oh,
on
that's
the
right.
goal line,
Yeah.
and then, but the
Mm.
the the week before was Deontay like no looking the fumble and like letting the other team pick it up. But the
Mm.
week after that, or sometime after that, Pickens didn't block for Jalen Warren. We didn't score. And then Warren comes out like I would block for Pickens if I had to,
Yeah.
just so wholesome.
Well, Warren's a dude. Like Warren's he's just a
Boy, Warren, yeah,
dude.
Warren's a guy.
I don't even know what to say about Warren. Like I
I've
picked last year to get 1,000 yards, but this year could be a good possibility to get 1,000 yards. Like,
I I don't know. I've had these takes for a little bit now. As the season's gone on, or as the season went on, I kind of came down off the Jalen Warren ledge. But I felt like in 2020, the season before this last one, so the Kenny Pickett rookie year, I felt like there was points where Jalen Warren was running the ball better than Najee for a while. And
mhm.
like it just wasn't, he wasn't getting the snaps to prove it. And then I remember seeing him in that preseason too. Like I just remember like, hey man, 30 is running the heck out of the ball. And I thought it was James Conner at first. I was like, man, this is crazy.
Mm.
And then he just kept running good. He kept running good. He kept running good. And now here we are. He's pretty much, our 12th man. He's a part of the starting offense. He even got announced as a starter in one of the games.
He did too, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think it was it co-started with Najee Harris as well. I'm pretty sure. I think it was
Yeah.
something like that. I think.
It might not. It might have just been him because I
Was it him?
remember there being a day or two of like, oh, the Steelers are benching Najee and Jalen Warren is getting promoted. I think it might have happened where it was just him, but it was
Right.
just for a week.
You probably are, Ronnie. Probably are right to maybe send a bit of a message where Mike Tomlin
Yeah.
walked up to the audio guys and said, "Oh, by the way, thank you, Yui, mate, for sending the gifted subs as well. Yui,
Hey,
you're a champion. Thank you,
big gift
brother.
of subs.
That's awesome. But yeah, I think like this is why I want to try and avoid this next year, this year in 2024, but we won't. It's going to be QB1 Russ. I want Russ. It's going to be I want Wilson. It's going to be this year as well. Najee Harris one, or who's going to be one. But I think the Steelers need both. I think the
Yeah.
Steelers will come to an agreement. Or actually, I don't. I think they should because Omar Khan said we'll get the deal done in June or July. We have time for Najee Harris, but you never know. Do you think they get the done with Najee Harris, his rookie contract to the next contract next year or this year?
I was gonna say, do you mean like the option or like a whole new kind of extended contract or contract?
Either way. Like, they could give him the fifth year option. I think they could possibly do that. Or are they making him a Steeler like next year? Because I think they should. Like, I know that at the start of the year maybe wasn't the best, but I think Najee brings something different to the team too. He's a big bloke taking
Yeah.
on 4 or 5 tacklers. And he beats them up, and when he gets going, he can get six yards of carry, or you know what I
Right.
mean. Like he's never going to run 45. I'm not sure he's the longest run in his career. I'll look it up in a minute, but like he's never going to run 80 yards like Warren
Right.
does. But at least he's going to punch him in the head.
Yeah. So I mean, I could see us definitely keeping him. I think he kind of embodies the whole Steeler way, Steeler mentality. And I will say too, as down as I kind of am on Najee sometimes, like when he is running good, when you see Najee get a run for like 10 yards or like, he runs up a hole, like I think to me, he looks like the best running back, just the aesthetic of it. Just the way he runs, the way he's plowing through people, the stiff arms, the hurdles sometimes. Like when Najee has the open hole, like he looks amazing. And yeah, the 1-2 punch with him and Jalen Warren, I think that can be huge. I think if he has another season with like not the most extreme injuries, and he has another season of 1,000 yards, I definitely think we'll re-sign him. And
Yeah.
the running back market is, is just, it is what it is. But I'll be happy with it because if we can continuously have a duo, because I think teams kind
100%.
of limit themselves when they only have the one and they kind of put all the money in the one. If we can have a duo, there's no reason why we can't just continue to have Najee and continue to have Jalen Warren up until they, I guess, aren't performing. But I think they're both performing.
I think this team does need both. I think they need both Najee Harris right now. I just look up his stats, by the way, too. Bass says here, I think the 50-year option is in around $10 million, so they could do that, or they could offer him a new contract, I think, too. But Najee Harris is longest run in Steelers history, been now 3 years, is 37 yards, right? Nothing too crazy, but he's the bruiser.
Right.
He gets in there, and how many times we've seen him, dive for the goal line or run people over or run into 2 middle linebackers. Like he's just I think he's just I don't know how to say it. He's a big
guy.
bloke that runs people over, and I think the fan base sometimes they try and compare one to the other.
Yeah.
But if you start Warren, then maybe he goes backwards. But they work so well in tandem. I like how we've gone from Deontay's question all the way to the running back. You know what I'm saying? I think it's funny how that kind of happens with stuff. But let's go back to and we'll go for about another 10 minutes or so, and then in about 5 minutes time, guys, we'll get some questions for Zaya. But what are your thoughts overall about the quarterback number one position? That's the biggest thing in the room right now. Like dead set. What is Wilson number one?
Yeah. I think with even his last season, comparing it to Justin Fields, to be honest, I didn't watch the most of either team. But I think with the experience, I think with the history, I think Wilson does deserve the nod of the number one quarterback off rip. Now, if Justin, I think it should be open for sure, just like it should have been open for Kenny. Like I think if Justin is, just outplaying him in practice and stuff, then yeah, start Justin. But I think I think we can get like a pretty good year out of Russell this year, to be honest.
I reckon so too. I think there have been reports out there from a few sources and the guys in the know that saying he will be the number one quarterback. And I think you do need to have someone to be number one. I don't think you go into camp having, who's going to be it? Who's going to be it? Teams that do that, I think are a bit lost. I think you need some, I don't know, some idea who the quarterback is, right? And then you can figure it out with maybe a competition. But I think also Justin Fields, I think he said in an interview somewhere or something was said where he was okay with it. Or maybe I just saw the rumor, but it feels like he's okay with it. He's cool. Whereas on the other hand, Kenny wasn't cool and asked for the trade to get out. But Russell Wilson to me is the guy. And yes, I'm going to try and get to my good mate, Gage. He does a channel with the Broncos Syndicate. And he had, thank you, Yuli. He had, in Denver, it didn't work out. Like they weren't winning games. I think Russell Wilson's record there is really bad overall. The offense wasn't up to scratch. I think Russell Wilson did okay last year, though, 29 TDs or 30 and some interceptions. But they also, the two highest quarterbacks who get sacked are Russell Wilson and Fields.
Nice.
So it doesn't really fit. Does it really fit the Mike Tomlin thing with the turnovers and the Justin Fields? So I'm going to be optimistic into the off season. But I think too, the first time we see a pass in any practice, training camp, it'd be like, dude, this is kind of fun. You know what I mean?
Am I allowed to necessarily slander other teams like the Broncos and Bears, for example? Because those aren't the greatest of situations. I don't want to go too crazy, but those aren't the greatest of situations. And if we look at what happened with Russ last year, this is a team that literally told him, hey, take a pay cut or you're not playing. This is where their mindset was at the whole time. And Russ, through this all, as bad of a person as he is, as how much the media has been talking about him, how much stories have come out about him, he handled that pretty well, given the severity of it. You just take down the Chiefs. You guys aren't necessarily out of it yet. You're not necessarily, out of contention yet. But we're just gonna tank it because we're thinking about next year. Like that's the situation he's coming from. And Justin Fields is coming from a situation in the Bears where they've had the number one pick, 17 times in a row or something, pretty much. If they don't have it, they traded it.
Well,
like
they give it to us.
yeah.
The Bears give away their picks. And
Oh,
Omar,
yeah, and
like,
Omar Khan owns the Bears. Like, this is that team. This is that team that's letting the year 2 GM just steal all their players and picks, man. Like, what are we talking
yeah.
about?
Well,
That's
let's go
where
back.
they're coming from.
Let's go back to the Denver bit, because I do find that kind of interesting, because Russell Wilson with the Seahawks, he's got 1 Super Bowl, and yes, he should never thrown that pass to that was terrible.
Yeah.
I was in Pittsburgh. In Jerome Bettis Bar and Grill. Super Bowl 49. I was my first time to America, and it was my last few days in America. I went to Pittsburgh in the hopes of seeing our team in not in this, because it was somewhere else. I don't know where it was, but to see our team in the city would have been crazy. But Seattle made it. Patriots made it. He threw that pick, and all around the bar we went, "Ooh, no, no, dude!"
Tough.
Like, there was a Seattle Seahawks girl. She was a fan. She was cut. Like, she was so done. She was just like, she couldn't even speak. Like, she just was just like,
yeah. I don't know. I really, I'm thinking about it. Just quick little subtopic off of 2011 when we played the Packers, that Super Bowl. I was, I was like, I want to say like 12 or 13, maybe even younger. So I don't know how I got through that, but man, as an adult, I do not think I can see us lose the Super Bowl. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I can see it, man.
That's why we have 6, because unlike Bengals fans, we can go back and watch any of the 6 anytime we want to. The Bengals fans have to go and watch 0 out of 3. But also with that Super Bowl too, with the Packers one, it's all good now, because Rashad Mendenhall didn't fumble.
Yeah,
so it's fun.
I get our fans. Much, but bro, you fumbled in the Super Bowl, man. There's no escaping that. I get it. Maybe other player X didn't play the best. Maybe other player X didn't play the best. But brother, you fumbled in the Super Bowl. Like, what are we talking about? To me,
he would be better off just saying nothing and maybe just talking about sports and NFL and never bringing it up. But he always brings it up and says, "I didn't fumble," or this, and brings the heat back to him. You know what I mean? It is. I think you're right. I think with Denver, I think it wasn't the right match make in heaven or whatnot. I think because he saw the coach over there yelling at him too. As
Sean Payton.
Yeah, just on the sidelines, just blasting him.
Which was the second coach of his tenure, by the way. Second head coach in 2 years.
There you go. Oh, true, because he had Pete Carroll, right? Yeah.
No. Well, he had what's his name? He had Aaron Rodgers, man's. I can't think of his name, but he had the Packers offensive coordinator as his head coach for a year, and then that didn't work out. Then they get Sean Payton.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah,
and he was a really bad. I heard he was a really bad coach and really bad offensive coordinator, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then he had Peyton. But I think when he put him on the spot like that, yelling at him, and that was just not a good look, right?
Yeah,
and maybe that Peyton didn't want him, and he wants out. And they said, you know what? And then the funny thing is too, when there's one of the best games this season, 2024. I don't know if you know this too, but the Steelers fans out there, we're going to go to Denver. They're paying him $39 million, almost $40 million, and we have their quarterback. They're paying the Pittsburgh Steelers his contract for Russell Wilson to walk in that stadium and win. Like, he has to win that game.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't care if we go. I do care a little bit, but if we go 1-16, you need to win that game because they're paying his contract. We're paying like 1.2, and they walk into Denver and just give a good thumbs up to Peyton on the way out.
Who's their quarterback?
No idea.
Kenny Pickett, man. What are we doing? I wanted the Vikings to trade for Kenny. But there's another team with no quarterback.
That's why I didn't understand why they would have that he went to the Eagles, but he can't decide where to go. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Kenny Pickett, called Omar Carr something. He said, you know what, I'm going to send you to the Eagles then. But at the same time, he can sit behind. They get millions of dollars. It's all business. But yeah, no, you're right, dude. I think the Denver thing is interesting. I think the Fields thing is, I don't know. The Bears and Omar Khan, like, you are right. Would you say 17 picks?
Yeah, they just are a consistently bad team. Consistently bad.
We got now Claypool for
We got Joey Porter Jr. for Chase Claypool, and we got Justin Fields for a 6th, which maybe is a 4th if he ends up playing 51% of the snaps.
Right.
But even that, a 4th, and Kenny Pickett just went for a 3rd. Like, that's kind of crazy value. And then for a 6, that's pretty much like nothing. No offense, but and if you can get that 6th round guy, then that's you. But 6 rounds picks aren't the most sought after item.
Says here you guys are saying they have Jared Stidham.
Jared Stidham and Ben
Yeah.
DiNucci. Hey
Here
man,
you go. Look, I don't know what they're going to do.
Our defense sometimes and backup quarterbacks, that might be a tough game for us. Stidham might have one.
No, you never know. You never know. Yeah, like a quarterback never heard their name before. They never started, and next minute they beat us like 4 TDs and whatnot. But all right, man, let's get some questions in the chat. I'm gonna get some questions for Zaya. Anyone have? I got a question from Andy too. So try and feed these questions towards Zaya, and we'll start to wrap up the program. It's been fantastic. 1 second. So questions. I cannot do 2 things at once. All right. So put question for Zaya in there, be awesome. But Andy says here, how does an Aussie like yourself become interested in the NFL, and what made you like Steelers? So in a big nutshell, I've been watching the Steelers since I was like 2002, and I started watching NFL when I was like playing Madden video games, Madden 04, all that kind of stuff. And the colors alone of black and yellow, drew me in. But now I know 1000% is black and gold. And also, did you see too that Queen, Fields, and I think Russell Wilson also black and gold? Like,
yeah,
that's good. Like that now we're like, all right, cool, man.
They're a part of the team, man.
Yeah,
they're Steelers. Patrick Queen.
Yeah.
That I don't know if you saw the Steeler Mike Tomlin and Patrick Queen. How Mike Tomlin told him like he wasn't already. That's so funny now in hindsight.
Did you see the photo with I think Queen and Wilson? I've never seen Mike Tomlin happier.
Oh yeah. He was like standing on the side, right? Yeah, he was very happy.
It was the recent photo when they're signing the contracts.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about the press conference.
I think it was for his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like in the middle, just hugging them both. Like I've never seen him happier. So, dead set. All right, let's get some questions for Zaya. I want to learn about your story more. But to everyone, pretty much. I started watching football in the 2000s. Remember the Titans, those kind of films, Little Giants, the Replacements, that kind of stuff. The Water Boy. It intrigued my interest, and now here we are in 2024. That I'm now 34 years of age, talking football, and I never thought in a million years we'd have both Wilson and Fields. Yeah. But I do have some questions for Zaya. Great question, by the way. Yuli says, Zaya, what's your favorite pizza?
Like topping or brand?
Okay,
so topping. I'm gonna keep it classic. I really only get down with like pepperoni. Sometimes I'll put bacon on there. Sometimes I'll put chicken on there, but like that seems a little bit much. I just like a good plain pizza or pepperoni. From like a fast food place, if I just wanted to say a chain, go with the good old Domino's. They've always been solid.
Have you guys got like Papa John's, stuff like that though over there?
Yeah, I like Papa John's. To me though is pretty expensive. It is pretty good though too, but I don't know, it's a little expensive. Pizza Hut, same thing.
You said you're originally from New York, so do you have that New York pizza? Is it like the square pizza?
So I'm not from like New York City, but I would say typically it would be like a triangle kind of place. I have had square pizza too. But yeah, I'm more of like a triangle guy, I guess. I don't know. I've never.
Yui says I asked the hard-hitting questions. Other journalists.
That one was tough. I'm not gonna lie. I was not ready for that. What is my favorite pizza? Do I even like pizza?
So you don't like pizza?
No, it had me questioning if I definitely like pizza, but it just.
Well, I guess it puts you on the spot, right? Mine is 2 pepperoni as well. I think pepperoni is just clean, with cheese, parmesan. But I'm like you. Like I might add something else on there, pepperoni, mushroom, or something else to it. But if I'm not doing that, I'll go into. I don't know what you guys call it over there in America. We call it a supreme, where it's like everything.
Oh,
we have like the meat, the veggies, like they're in there too.
That's just so much though.
There is a lot, but I worked for Pizza Hut when I was younger, from like 14 to 21. I worked there for a long time.
Right.
So I tried everything. I had meat lovers, bacon, all the stuff. But my go-to now, if I'm gonna buy one and spend my hard-earned coin, I will go towards pepperoni. And I'm one of the guys too. I get like a garlic dip as well, because I'm just like that. Get a garlic dip on the side, maybe some like I don't know.
That's Omar Khan.
Hey,
that's Omar Khan getting pizza. Hey. Like, you know what? Let me get another garlic. Matter of fact, yeah.
he would make the Chicago Bears pay for it.
Yeah.
He'd go out to dinner and say, "Oh, you're paying for this," and walk out. They'd be like, "What?" And if you put it in Spain, he'd be like, "Yeah, you're paying." And they're going,
That's
dude.
crazy.
He actually what he's doing, I think, for being there for what 20 years, I think, as the money guy, and now
Mhm.
stepping up as a GM. He's like 47 years of age. This could be something to watch. Like, I know we
Yeah,
need to win
for a while
games, but
too.
he's building the team, and that's why it's fun. I think that's what's something different compared to the last few years. We got to the playoffs and we didn't win again, yes, but I think something's different where they're building something compared to the last few years. I got a question here from Pittsburgh. Toddy 86 says, "Oh,
Oh, Zara.
Zaya,
Dang.
Zaya, it's all cool. Zaya, what's your favorite Steelers player?"
Then this is easy too. I am literally Chris Boswell's first and like biggest fan for sure. I have a jersey
Out of
for
everyone,
1,000% because
wow,
listen,
that's
let me
cool.
tell a story. There was one faithful, I forget the year. I think I was in like 10th grade. There was one faithful Sunday night football game against the Baltimore Ravens where I watched a Michael Vick led Pittsburgh Steelers team go against the Ravens and lose because a kicker named Josh Scobie missed at least 3 to 4 field goals in that game. We cut him, bring in Chris Boswell. He's hitting his kicks, man. And from that Scobie game, I learned how, important it is to have a consistent kicker. We had Sweezum before I get that. We've had some other kickers before I get that, but this is at like, my youth, my prime of watching. And so, I see Boswell, he's railing him in. That loss was tough. But yeah, he was very consistent. And then he started like actually being, one of the better kickers in the league. He started actually carrying us. There was a lot of the times where this killer bee led offense, where this, 40, 50 points was relying on Chris Boswell to bail him out a lot. It happened a lot. But yeah, like I got, and this is so cringy now because here I am like 24, but I have DMs like on Instagram to Chris Boswell. And it's like, hey man, like you're such a good kicker. And like, this is like in 2015. I'm like, hey man, like you're such a good kicker, bro. Like we need you. You're so consistent. And like, yeah. And so here he is still on the team.
Did he write back?
No. And you ever heard the song "Stand" by Eminem?
Probably, but I don't know. Maybe.
For the people, the Stan Eminem fans, like when Stan came to go see Eminem, I went to Pittsburgh. I went to a Steelers game, and I was pretty close. I'm not gonna lie. I was like right there on like the guard, yelling out to players, yelling out to Boswell. For sure, the only person with his jersey on in that stadium. I was saying Boswell, Boswell. Nothing. Mans was locked in. It happens. He's a professional. Yeah. He's when you're 1-on-1, when you're nailing kicks like that, I get it. But man,
the one thing I'll say about Boswell, he is winning on the field and off the field.
Yeah.
Great. His wife is, sorry, Boswell, if you're listening, but your wife, attractive as. She's so attractive.
Is she? I didn't even know.
Yeah, do your homework because
is it like, damn, that's like 30% of my grade copy.
Now Boswell's gonna beat me up. He's gonna kick my ass.
Boswell,
that's why he's always smiling, man. He's always happy because she's up there.
He's paid too. Well, at least he was. At one point, I remember we had him like, we gave him like the highest paid contract for a kicker too.
I can't believe actually he's been here since 2015.
Since 2015,
1, 2, 3,
he's like
4,
the second
5,
longest
6, 7,
tenure.
8, 9. What has he been here? No,
it's only Cam that's.
Has he been here 10 years?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Next year I think it will be.
Wow, we have to get this guy a ring. So I didn't realize that he's 34.
30, yeah.
Like, man, life goes fast. Life goes fast. 2015 to now 2024, and I'm looking at his stats too, right? So because I go to his stats, right? He has and I think Chris Boswell is one of the most underrated kickers because they always talk about that other bloke, the Ravens dude, Tucker,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
but
Tucker.
It's out. I do this a few times. I can't believe he's been here now almost 10 years. That's insane. He has 87%, 0.2% field goal percentage, right? 87%. Mm-hmm. Now, the other bloke has 90.2. They all talk about Tucker, only 3% difference, and it's Chris Boswell. Come on, dude.
He's him.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I love Boswell. The facts, the last killer bee. But yeah, like for sure. And if not, moving past Boswell, back to like the favorite Steeler question, probably Jaylen Warren at this point. It was Kenny Pickett. That didn't, go the best. So yeah, definitely probably Jalen Warren to this point. I will admit I was a big AB guy at one point as well. I was a big Le'Veon guy at one point as well. Which Le'Veon, I don't know. I'm not really the most mad at Le'Veon. He could actually play. Apparently, he might come back. I wouldn't be the,
I think
worst with that.
I think Le'Veon Bell started that rumor.
Oh, like himself?
I think he started that one as well.
Is this a place to talk about that? Because I swear Le'Veon like loves the Steelers sometimes. Like whenever it's time for him to like be doing something, he's tapped back in with the Steelers. That's just me. Like I don't know. Like whenever
I'm
tweets
fine, I'm fine with Le'Veon. The one I can't stand right now is AB because
Yeah,
AB is
AB.
absolutely insane. Like I think AB is actually playing a certain character and to make us all think that he's
Yeah.
that kind of crazy because you can't be that crazy.
Yeah, I think now too, like with this whole Twitter thing, and I think he probably gets monetization off of Twitter.
Yeah,
He's like a
100%.
meme. He's literally a meme page now.
Do you read what he tweets? There's
Yeah,
some are stupid, but some are pretty funny.
yeah, they are. Yeah, like cause
Hmm.
AB sometimes is pretty funny. I won't lie.
You look at them and go, you probably can't say that, but because AB said it, it's okay.
And like, have to mind you too, this is like literally, one of the best receivers ever. Probably today can be
100%.
a top 10 receiver in the league somehow. Like this is a guy who's just, he's good. And he was
Like
always
he
good.
did set this tweeted 5 minutes ago, and I won't show it, but he's got Ice Spice, whoever that is, leaked video, and he says keep that stanky S. He's got I don't know. There's another one I can't even say. Like if you go into AB's Twitter, it's ridiculous.
Dang.
Like some of the stuff is just insane. How he goes on about things. CTSPN podcast coming soon apparently. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely trying to get on that one.
Oh my goodness.
That's gonna dang. We got to be ready for that.
He has a hat on called "Show Me That."
Oh, I've
big
seen the whole.
Yeah.
I've seen
Like,
that. I've definitely
okay,
seen that.
so yeah. All right, okay. Any more questions, guys? Put them in the chat, and we'll start to get out of here very shortly. By the way, we've had this. I think it's the most people I've seen in a Steelers Nation Australia podcast. Almost like 75 people. So thank you for everyone coming in, saying hello as well. Make sure you check out Zaya's channel. I will link there is the link in the chat right now again. And I might do one or two more questions, and then we'll do our final thoughts on what's happening. And because the live chat's going, so Rod says AB's not acting; he's actually nuts. So,
He's
I don't know.
probably
Could be a
nuts,
possibility.
to be honest. He's probably nuts.
AB tag Kenny in a post saying QB room got better next season.
See, it's like dang.
Yeah, he's there's something happening. So thank you, Rod. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's a lot of fun. I'm doing content every day. I know Zaya's doing some good things too. So yeah, we had I think over 75 people today in the chat. So I'll let you get to your final thoughts, Zaya, on like how the Steelers are. Like, what are you overall feeling right now? Like all the moves happened. What could be possibly the next move that the Steelers do? Like this has been such a wild weekend, a wild 6 days of Steelers football. What are you feeling, man?
Well, I'm feeling good definitely overall about the team. I'm definitely excited for this upcoming season. And I don't think the moves are done. There's still talks of us getting, a receiver. I saw, Tyler Boyd, apparently is linked, big pick guy, shout out. I've seen other receivers too, maybe linked to the Steelers. So there's that where we look to that in the draft. Of course, Justin Simmons at one point was a dream at safety, but now with Deshaun Elliott, I think it's a little maybe over for that. But I still think, we'll get a signing or two off, maybe one of note. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, like I don't want to repeat the same things, but I want to remind how many people you say 75 people in here.
Someone else crazy, man. So 75 to now 60 saying hello.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. Like I know it's like new information, but Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, and so I just don't think it's gonna get worse, man. How can I see this and be like, yeah, now we're gonna have the losing season? Not when it was Duck out there. Not when it was Mason out there, not when it was Kenny out there, no offense. Now we're going to have the losing season with Russ, with the crazy improved defense, with hopefully an improved offensive line with the pieces and, as they gel together. We'll see the wide receiver, new coach, new completely offensive system, man. So yeah, I'm definitely
good
positive.
point. Don't jinx it.
Don't jinx
I think we'll be fine. But no, in a serious, like, like an answer. There's a lot of pressure on what a lot of moves been making.
Oh yeah, definitely
A lot of pressure on if this doesn't work out. If the Yinzers and Steeler Nation wasn't happy about Kenny Pickett, oh boy, if this doesn't work out and we go 4-13, oh they will let them know. They'll let them know.
It'll be back to the Tomlin's a fraud, got to get rid of him, and whether it's true or not, it's definitely going to fall back on him because, Khan, but everybody was clamoring for us to get a new OC. We did that. Everybody was clamoring for us to get a new quarterback. We did that. Everybody was clamoring for us to get, the linebacker since Ryan Shazier. We just did that. Everyone's been clamoring for us to get another corner. We kind of did that with Deontay trade. And at the same time, everybody's been clamoring for us to get rid of Deontay. We did that. Not everybody, but there was a large majority of Steeler fans that wanted us to get rid of Deontay. We have Naj, it's all gonna punter. We got rid of Presley Harvin, man. We got rid of Presley Harvin and signed Bill Burr to punt for us. Like that's just absolutely unridiculous.
Mason Cole out the window.
Mason Cole out of here, man. And and this is a guy who maybe
something like Chooks.
Why don't we just knee the ball? Why don't you just get off the team? Pretty much that's what happened. That's crazy, man.
The only thing for me is I didn't really expect the two quarterbacks like that together. You know what I mean? But everything else has been, Steel fans have been saying we would need a run game. Done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right, dude. Let's end it there because it's been a fantastic show. Almost an hour. You've been awesome. I will link the thing, your channel one more time. And where can everyone reach you on YouTube, Zaya?
At Zaya and the Steelers. Zaya and the Steelers. I always tell people just remember Zaya because if you can remember Zaya and the Steelers, Yep. Because everybody knows the Steelers because we're the world's favorite team. We're everybody's favorite team. We'll pack out. We'll sell out an arena in Uzbekistan if we need to, man.
Yeah.
So we're just
I wouldn't invite you on the podcast if it was called Zay and the Bengals. I wouldn't do that.
Speaking of the last thing, guys, I have people comment on my videos sometimes saying, "Why do I have a Bengals chair? It's red." And at one point I was a gamer, man. I was on the Fortnite. I was on the COD. I was a gamer, man. Like it's red. I promise. It's not a Bengals chair. There's no need for.
We need to get you a black and gold one.
I got to get something, man. I got to get a different chair.
Yeah. Do they actually say that they really say that they think you're a Bengals fan?
It's been there's I don't know his name off the top of my head, but there's somebody who's commented on at least 3 of my videos, and it's like the same person. It's like, why do you have a Bengals chair? Why do you have a Bengals? I think they're doing it to be funny at this point, but I noticed my webcam, I was kind of looking at it, I noticed the chair. So just in case anybody did think it was a Bengals chair, it's just red.
Well, you do have the Pittsburgh stuff in the background too.
I do have the Pittsburgh stuff in the background.
All right. So thank you everyone in the chat as well. Thank you, Andy Blue Nose, all the OGs in here. Thank you, Yuli, for the 5 memberships. You absolutely awesome. So many people. It's one of the most successful podcasts I think I've had in 3 years. Now, I used to do a lot of games, watching the game. We had over 70 people. So if you hit the like, it's been a good conversation with Zaya. We're going to end it here. And yeah, Rod says too, I thought it was a Bengals chair.
Yeah, see, I had to clear it up, man. I had to address the controversy. I had to stop it before it started, man.
All right, Zaya. I'll catch you later, mate. Thank you for coming on the program. We have to end this way. I've got this audio and I've been using it so many times. You guys know what's going on. The Khan artist is he is striking gold. He's not effing around. So here it is.
After the next 2, is he still aggressive?
Yeah, what do they call him? The con artist? I like that. I saw that, man. That's pretty good. It's a cool nickname.